We face the same Islamist terror network. We have to fight it together. Hamas is ISIS. ISIS is Hamas. You saw the gruesome beheading of James Foley. We see the gruesome murder of execution of 3 teenagers, which Hamas has just admitted that they did. These are branches off the same poisonous street.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with my old colleague, Congressman Rabil ISIS, the Prime Minister saying Hamas is ISIS, ISIS is Hamas. So why does it seem that in some ways these terror groups are winning the PR battle, at least in the eyes of some? To go in depth, once again, we're so pleased to be joined here by Dr. Robert Rabil, Middle East expert and a professor at Florida Atlantic University. Dr. Rabil, we welcome you back to America's Forum.
It's my pleasure, Congressman, and my honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Let's start out with
Please.
ISIS.
Yes.
We have reports today
Yes.
that an ex-cop from the United States,
Yes.
Raised Catholic,
Yes.
wants to join up and go fight with ISIS. This comes on the heels of the 2 executions of Americans.
Yes.
Why is ISIS able to recruit Westerners, particularly Americans?
Because they capitalize on the alienation of certain Americans. They bring them into a process, and that process starts with recruitment, then with ideological brainwashing. And they depict United States as the greatest evil. So here you have now a force that will say, listen, United States is an evil force, what you are going to do about it. And once you go outside, mainly overseas, and join certain group, we call now that phase in that process as a multiplier force or multiplying force. You meet with other people, and what you see now, you see other people sharing the same view that United States is an evil force. So what you have now, the transition from the radical ideologies that you have been indoctrinated to taking acts of terror. And this is the tragedy that's happening. And this is the tragedy that's happening with ISIS, in that they are creating a terror state, and it's becoming a magnet for all those who are facing problems, alienated, believe they have undue and unfair grievances. So this is what's happening. And it's tragic.
So ISIS is viewed by these alienated as their tool for reform.
For their tool to go ahead and deal a severe blow to what they consider the evil force United States.
Let me amend that term, not reform in the classic sense, but essentially revenge.
Revenge,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
revenge,
yeah.
yes. It's an excellent term.
ISIS has utilized the internet
Yes.
and the social media to great effect. I want to talk about that, but
Yes.
you came to see
Well,
us today and
yes,
you
and I
downloaded a statement.
I downloaded a statement, it's right here. It speaks about the ideological view of beheading. Because why? You had a debate. Well, they did it because to bring United States there to fight. I say it's one factor. But the other factors that we have to know is that how they perceive ideologically the beheading. And this is what he said. This is a Salafi jihadi sheikh, and this is what he said. But in respect to the decapitation of the infidel from Jews, Christian, Alawi, Shia, and those Muslims who are apostates, these we should strike terror and fear in their heart. For we should cut their heads with no dignity. For decapitation them is sanctioned by the companion of the Prophet. May God bless him. This is now how they perceive decapitation, to strike fear and terror in those who don't agree with them. And this is why I mentioned it, from Jews, Christians, Alawi, Shia, and Muslims who they believe as apostate, mainly Muslims who believe as they are infidels. And this is part of their ideology.
And it's laid out for the world to see on the internet.
It's laid out in the world to see, absolutely. And you have tons of information. Why they should do that, why they should go and create that Islamic State, why they should go and fight United States. You have many of this on the internet.
I should point out to those watching us that Dr. Rabil was translating that simultaneously from Arabic for us in English, and that is the caliphate that he is laying it down for the ISIS followers. Beheading is something that is sanctioned according to our faith.
Yes.
And
by
really
the companions of the Prophet. Now you don't have consensus. I don't think the companions of the Prophet said that, but this is their own view, and this is very problematic. When they say, well, the companions of the Prophet, why? The companions of the Prophet constituted the golden age of Islam. And the Salafi Jihadi, as other Salafit, they hark back to that golden age of Islam.
So they believe the rise of the caliphate now, the modern caliphate, brings back that golden age.
Yes,
okay.
And to walk in the footsteps of the companions. So beheading, strike fear, strike terror, and this is what should we do, and this is something sanctioned. This is their ideology.
Some very ominous tweets from the here and now, and again, this mixture of the primitive with the very ultra-modern is incredibly incendiary and effective. Here are the tweets from in front of the White House and in front of a prominent building in Chicago, a message from ISIS to the U.S. We are in your state. We are in your cities. We are in your streets. You are our goals anywhere. Only about a minute and a half remains, Professor.
Yes.
You see these tweets.
Yes.
Is ISIS in the United States right now, in your opinion?
All right, this is what I'd say, and thank you for graciously inviting me early on. You remember in June, and I let it out in plain terms. ISIS is indeed a threat to the United States. The problem is, I cannot speak in absolute terms, but I can say that you have many of those fighters, ISIS fighters, are dual citizen. And we saw that you have 2 Americans already have been killed in Iraq. So you might have a chance that some of them came back and they are here. So yes, there is a chance.
And we have seen fighters return. Thus far, we have not seen attacks, but we did see those two photographs in social media when you're in front of a prominent building in Chicago, and then they're in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I don't think we can dismiss that as a crank posting.
No, and hopefully we are paying enough, our intelligence paying enough attention to make sure who is going in our country, in our homeland, and who's leaving.
Dr. Robert Rabil, as always, we appreciate your insights, your scholarship, and your warnings. Now, you just heard from the good doctor. What's your take? Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum.